Hello, and welcome to episode 144 of Things I Learned from Barry Harris. And today I thought we would talk about something that we were talking about over at Open Studio, which is stealing a Bud Powell phrase. But stealing it in a way that also we're going to try it from every degree of the scale, and we're going to see if we can make something out of it that's not just taking his exact riff. So Bud Powell played this beautiful phrase, but first let's walk through how we got to it, or how you can get to it. So the first thing is, if we take, let's say, D7 scale, we have to know how to play the scale up and down. We have to know how to play the scale in thirds. We have to know how to play the scale in triads. Up and down. We have to know how to play the scale in chords. Up and down, same thing. Then we have to know what Barry refers to as a pivot, which is taking, let's say, this chord, which is 4 notes, D, F sharp, A, and C, and you're going to play the D exactly where it was, but instead of continuing to go up with F sharp, A, C, you're going to play those 3 notes down an octave below that original D. So instead of this, you have to be able to do this. And you have to do that from every degree. So here's from the second, from the third, and so on. So that's a pivot. So you're going to need to know a pivot. The other thing that's pretty that you should know about a scale is just some basic things like going up 3 notes. So starting on the D, playing up 3 notes, down 3 notes. See, this is just scale. Going up 4 notes. All these guitar players practice these kind of things all the time. 5 notes, 6 notes, all those things. I also like going up 3 notes and then going up a third. Those are really pretty. So all these kind of things are really pretty. But besides doing these up, see, now we're doing these. I had a video about this before where we're doing them up and we continue to go up the scale. So that's up and up. But sometimes we have to reverse it. Like sometimes we have to go up and down. So in other words, here's going up 3 notes. But now I want to go down the scale. So now I started on D. Now I'll start on C. Now I'll start on B. So you say. So that's up and down. So the same thing, if we're going, we should be able to go down and up. So let's start on the F sharp. Now we're going 3 notes up. Those are really pretty. All those things are great to practice. And what I love about them is it's pure scale. Pure scale. So what Bud Powell did was, Bud Powell did down 4 notes. So you start, let's say, let's go down, let's start, here's D7, let's start on the 4th, let's start on G, and let's come down 4 notes. I love those. So that's just down 4 notes. But he did it as a triplet. So he said 1, 2, be-ba-da-da. 2, 2, be-ba-da-da. 1, 2, be-ba-da. So it'd be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and keep going in triplets. And then triplet again. Those are all really pretty. Then he added to it. So he did down 4 notes, and then from the note that you were at, you go up a third, which is pretty. And then you add the scale note that you skipped over to jump the third. So for instance, if we come down 4 notes from the G, we jumped up from D to F sharp, and then the note that we skipped in between D and F sharp is E. So you could also say you come down a note. You could say from the F sharp you come down a note. So now after that, he did a pivot. So it would be Really nice. But now he did it from the second, actually. So he did. Listen to that phrase. Starting on the second, we'll go down 4 notes using the triplet, come up a third, go down a scale note, and then come up a pivot. So he said, listen how pretty that is. I mean, that's a pretty phrase. Ba ba da dee da 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 da. And the thing that I really love about it is, as much as we practice chromatics and half steps below, chromatic rules, all those different things, this is pure scale. I love it. And we were talking about, even if you listen to a lot of the original Charlie Parker stuff, even the original Charlie Parker on Dial, or a lot of the early bird stuff, you're going to hear a lot of just scale phrases. And I happen to love those. And I'm not saying that I don't also love adding chromatics too. Of course, that's beautiful. But just playing just scale notes is really beautiful. So anyway, so this is Bud Powell's phrase. So now we could just take that and steal it if we want. But if we want to be slick about our thievery, we should learn how to do it on every degree of the scale. And this is one thing that Barry was so focused on having people look at. Try it on every degree of the scale. Maybe some of them you'll like, maybe some of them you won't. Okay, but let's try them out. So that was starting on the third. So let's start on this. I'm sorry, that was starting on the second. Let's start on the root just to start. So if we start on the root, we'll say, that's nice. That's a nice one. But let's start on the second. This is Bud Powell's, which I love. Start on the third. Remember, it's the same pattern every time. Coming down 4 notes, using a triplet, then going up a third, coming down a scale note, and then pivoting from this note. So I love that. Here's from the 4th, from the 5th. I like from the 5th. Wait, so I like that one from the 5th. I like all of them, but that one just caught me for some reason. Now here's from the 6th. That's a nice one. I like them. Like all those. Let's try from the 7th. Let's see. I like that. That's a nice one. Let's see. Let's see. I like that. So 1, 2, 3. Love that one from the 7th. So you see how you take an idea and then you say, okay, I don't just want to say, here's a Bud Powell phrase that he played on a dominant or on a 2-5. So now every time I have a 2-5, I can insert this Bud Powell phrase. And then I stole this Charlie Parker phrase, and then every time I have a 2-5, I have this Bud Powell phrase, and then now I have this Charlie Parker phrase, and this Sonny Rollins phrase, and now I'm going to do combinations of those. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the thing that Barry really focused on and taught us is that you could take from the masters and you could really make it into something else. Because he used to say, Barry said one time, I mean, he said it more than one time, but he said, you know, he thought, at a certain point, he thought Charlie Parker was everything. And then he worked with Coleman Hawkins. And he's like, no, Charlie Parker wasn't everything, because it's impossible to be everything. And same thing, Coleman Hawkins. Coleman Hawkins wasn't everything. Bud Powell isn't everything. They're all incredible, but obviously they can't do everything. Sonny Rollins isn't everything. But they are completely unique, and they are definitely worth checking out to see, like, how can I phrase in this way, or what were they possibly thinking. So this is like a nice little hack to see, like, how can I try to take a beautiful Bud Powell phrase and move it into my own playing, my repertoire. So those are beautiful things to practice. And what is also wonderful about them is it's just scale. So think about those two things: stealing phrases, but in a slicker way, and using just scale, which is really wonderful. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, and enjoy practicing your stealing of phrases. Until next time.